Good morning from New York. Today's subject, MAGA far right false equivalent statements. This the support by the media. Yeah, IMC, Intermind Communication Philosophy. Well, I'm always seeing this need in the media for a horse race between Joe Biden and Trump. They will admit, for instance, that Trump is unfit, but on the other hand, they will refer to Joe Biden as unwell. He's doing really well for a some year old. Is he 80? If for his age, he's doing very well, and very clear spoken. A few gaffes, don't we all make those? Um, but unwell. And if you consider him unwell and old, elderly, um, Trump is too. So he's both unwell and unfit. So I have to laugh at the way they try to not stimulate any strong responses in the news. They're trying to be impartial. This is NPR. I am James Mattingly. And of course, it's always so smooth. Today, there was a bit of a skirmish there in Gaza. They're trying to, not excite people too much. Not, get them all fired up in any way. Just be neutral. Be neutral. Oh, you know, Trump is running well in in Utah or whatever. Really, he's running against one person. Yeah, this is almost silly, and he's nothing like Jesus. It's like he not only cheated on a wife, yeah, okay, but multiple wives and paying people. Oh, yeah, yeah, he's a real classy guy. Just ridiculous. And I love how NPR promotes itself. It's we're having a fundraiser today, and for a one-time gift of $100, we will give you a can of coffee. It's the best coffee in the world. I use it myself. For 200, we'll give you 2 cans of coffee and a shirt that says, "I support NPR." It's this smooth land, middle class, reaching out. As a poor person, I'm listening to that and going, uh-huh. Well, not today. And Gee, I can watch MSNBC for free. And they're not begging me for any money, you know. So, yeah. So it's just, interesting. And, you know, the evangelicals, talking about false equivalence being made. Trump, they did said in the beginning, was just like Jesus. Really? Yeah. And then they say, after he had so many obvious flaws, uh, not even a good businessman, his friends say, oh, well, he's not really a good businessman, he's a good showman. God, man. Hello. And then after they saw all of these faults, all of these things that were probably true about Trump. And then the next thing they say is, "Oh, isn't it wonderful how how God can use the most flawed individuals for His purposes?" Really? Really? Talk about a false equivalent statement. He's nothing like Jesus. The closest thing that we've gotten in a long time to someone like Jesus is probably Barack Obama, but they can't quit insulting and putting down Barack Obama. He's evil. He's tolerant of people who are gay. Really, you know, this is a Christian nation. It's not a Christian nation. Christians came over to this country running away from other Christians who were trying to suppress their expression of religion and oppress the people who belong to it and maybe kill them. Some of them were killing each other over whether you should be baptized or, you know, uh, by sprinkling or getting dunked, or whether a baby should be baptized at all. I'll give them this. At least they weren't considering that the baby needed to be dunked into the water. Anyway, it's just laughable. The whole thing, and it's and what is this thing? It's like the statements out of both sides of the mouth. It's like no, uh, he's innocent, Trump, but we want to delay the trial until he might get a chance to be president and forgive himself. Yeah, really? Yeah, so, of course, you can't, talk about the unfair, you know, we have a court stacked with conservative justices. One of the times that they've picked a Supreme Court justice was at the end of a presidential term. It was okay then, but when Barack Obama wanted to appoint Chief Justice, there was a big problem with that. It's at the end of the term. No, we can't do that. And, it's just these foolish kind of statements, and, these false equivalent statements concerning Trump. It's unbelievable. He wants to be a dictator for one day. You ever seen a dictator hang on to their rule as a dictator for just one day? That's one day. Aren't you breaking the principle of no dictatorship, even if it's only one day? It's just crazy. It's it's maddening. And what does intermind communication tell us the philosophy of it? The yoga of love. Well, we shouldn't be all about punishing people. It's like being cruel to people. I mean, that's, as the Obama said, when they go low, we go high. And gosh, in politics, it doesn't seem to work a lot of times. Because when they go low, people listen. And when someone goes high, they go, oh yeah. It's like the fear and the anger is more stimulating for human beings than the call to compassion and creativity and objectivity, the spiritual path. So, what are we going to do about it? You got to play the game the way the game's laid out. And so, in defense of democracy, the philosophy of intermind communication would say, you you shouldn't approach it in a punishing way, but in a protective way, yes. You lock somebody up when they're a threat to society or democracy, and put them in a place where they're silenced, and don't be unkind to them once they're there. Be very kind, and give them a path of spiritual healing, real spiritual healing, which I talk about constantly. Give them a path. That's recycle. Considering people to be worthless. The worst person challenges our ability to be loving, and so that is a gift in itself. If we can overcome and achieve a loving result when it's very difficult, if we can find a way to forgive when it feels almost impossible. And forgiving doesn't mean trusting, and it doesn't mean you don't put someone in a place where they can't harm other people. But that place should be a place of healing. Now, I feel great compassion and sorrow for Trump. He's a poor elderly gentleman that hasn't grown spiritually. I can't judge. I am not as grown spiritually as I'd like to be, and I never will be at the day of my death. So, judge not, that you be not judged. But you have to judge the simplest of things. You have to act in favor of compassion for people in ways that promote these perspectives, which underlie our virtues, compassion, and from that we get goodness, from objectivity, truth, and from creativity, artfulness, the ability to see the good in things, to get outside of the picture, and reimagine how things might be. Yeah, have different perspectives and put them together in effective ways. Be creative. Have an artful approach to life. And these three virtues of art and truth and goodness, these things grow trust. And trust is the cornerstone of trade. As you grow trust, you grow effective and fair trade. And that supports a healthy democracy. Yeah. So don't fall for the MAGA far-right attempts to make this race between two forms of good or evil. It's a race between someone who's best for the job and someone who can be worse for the job. Yeah. And then, you look at what your real options are, because you have to deal with the options on the table, not what you would like them to be. And the options are Joe Biden or Trump, or the Democratic Party, or the Republican Party that is totally supporting Trump at this point. Yeah. They need to learn a lesson in 24. If the Republicans are going to support this guy and be unethical enough to do that, the guy, Trump, was supporting a mob and the idea of hanging his own vice president. Huh. Yeah, he ruined Pence's career and just everything. He was a promising candidate for president himself at some point. And tried to get him killed. I mean, come on. And he embraced one of the fairest and best elections ever. Just this is ridiculous. It's not. There's nothing equivalent about Joe Biden and Trump. Nothing. One is far better, and one is far worse. Vote accordingly, and strengthen the love flow in the world. And don't be punishing. Don't be hateful. Why are you going to put down people? There's reasons why people are following Trump, and if you were them, and they had their experiences, you might be doing the same thing. So, we got to approach everything with kindness and promote progress at a rate that people can handle. And a two-party system kind of helps a bit with that, don't you think? It's very sad that we're losing one of our major, or one of our two major parties. Uh, there's a gap that's going to be created there if we lose. And in the end, electing Trump will be the total disaster of the Republican Party. Total. If he loses, well, they got another chance. Maybe they get more of a chance and some time to reform. But if he wins, well, in the end, the Republican Party will be so tainted, and because it won't be a good thing when Trump's in charge. It's going to bring out the very worst in our country, unpatriotic kinds of ideas that Trump has trumpeted, that our war heroes were fools, and that our allies should be disrespected. You don't do that. We didn't win World War II alone. The good in Europe helped us. Even the Russians helped us. And the other thing is, Putin is not like Jesus. I mean, they got to get off it, would you? Trump's nothing like Jesus, and neither is Putin. Putin is a dictator. Trump is a would-be dictator. And Pence is a power monger, And although, to be courteous, I've seen AI try to argue that you can't say that those who are hurt become hurters. It's not all are. Well, yeah. When you're hurt, you end up hurting other people, either by a lack of your capacity to love, or by overt bad acts, or just the unnecessary stresses that you put on people. So it's not a good result. I mean, there are people who are hurt in a certain way, and of course, most of them probably don't hurt people in the same way, although they might. But they end up hurting other people. Hurt in us hurts others. Hurt by hurt, I mean helplessness around love. Ability to give and receive love. That's a healthy trade, a healthy economy, by the way. The trust, the ability to give and receive love. So, I've had my rant. I think it's high time I gave one. And kudos to the Lincoln Project and Robert Reich and their efforts to make sure that we do not elect Trump. Let's appeal to the goodness in people, and let's go high by defending democracy and not putting up with false equivalent statements. Well, I'd probably give a better presentation if I had an English instructor sitting beside me, or a speech teacher. they call that. There's probably a name for that. But anyway, with all of my faults, I would like to honor from what love flow exists in me, the love flow in you. And that is done by saying a simple phrase, namaste. Namaste, y'all. And do have a fantastic day today. In fact, create one. Namaste.